You are on page 70 of your grammar workbook. I am going to go through this page with you. Yep, you. And we're going to have a great time. So we're going to do this together because I don't want you to have to do it by yourself before you've gotten lots of practice with me. So let's do it together. Remembering that we have a new answer flow for analyzing sentences. We have to stop at the beginning and we have to remember that our order of analysis is phrases, clauses, principal elements, and modifiers, because we're adding our phrases, which this week are prepositional phrases, and every prepositional phrase starts with a preposition, that list of jingles that you've been learning every day, I hope, and the preposition is attached to, like an apple on an apple tree, the preposition is attached to a noun or a pronoun that hangs on to the sentence. And if the preposition is taken out, the apple falls and the sentence falls apart. And so we're checking to make sure that our prepositional phrase is like a hanging apple on a tree. It adds beauty to the sentence, to the tree, but without the preposition, it falls apart. Let's get cracking. Here we go. We're going to do this first one together on page 70. Let's begin. We first read the sentence. Begin. We were swinging at the playground. We start with the order of analysis. It's phrases, clauses, principal elements, and modifiers. Are there any prepositional phrases? You say, yes, ma'am. At the playground is a prepositional phrase. Double check yourself. If you take out the first word, does the sentence fall apart? If you take out the preposition, we were swinging the playground. That doesn't work, so the sentence would fall apart. That must be the preposition, at. Preposition, at what? Playground. Object of the preposition. Which playground? The playground. Adjective, modifying the noun. Now we're finished with our phrases. Let's see if we go back and start the rest of our analysis, the principal elements, which are your subject and your predicate. So we read the sentence again. We were swinging at the playground. This is a sentence and it is declarative. This sentence is about we, so we is the subject. This sentence tells us that we were swinging. So were swinging is the predicate. Swinging is the predicate verb because it shows action. Were is the helping verb because it helps the verb. There are no linking verbs because predicate verbs do not need linking verbs. Now we have to deal with this. Were swinging where? That's an adverb question. At the playground. This is an adverbial element because it's modifying the verb. It is a prepositional phrase. We put ADV and PREP for prepositional phrase. This whole thing at the playground is telling us where. That's why it's an adverb, answering an adverb question. But instead of one word being an adverb, we now have a group of words, a phrase, acting like an adverb. Remember when you did phonograms and you had 2 letters or 3 letters working together to make one sound? Same idea. God's doing the same thing right here. He's taking several words and putting them together to act like an adverb, to be used to make one answer to the question of where they were swinging. That's why we have to put preposition down here because it's not just one word, it's a group of words, a phrase, a prepositional phrase, acting like an adverb. Have you ever had a sibling boss you around like they're the parent? Or have you ever had a cousin or a friend boss you around like they're the parent and they get to tell you what to do? We all have had one of those. I hope you're not one of those. But if you've ever had somebody treat you like that, that's kind of like this. We have a bunch of different words acting like something together that they are not. So all these guys, a preposition and an object of the preposition and an adjective, have gathered together and now they're acting like an adverb to tell about the swinging. All right, enough explanation. Let's try to do this one all the way through the whole analysis without more explanation. Ready, go. Earlier, Grandpa Fred watched us in the park. Order of analysis is phrases, clauses, principal elements, and modifiers. Are there any prepositional phrases? Yes, ma'am. In the park. Prepositional phrase. In. Preposition. In what? Park. Object of the preposition. Which park? The park. Adjective. Double check before you move on. If we take out the preposition, does the apple fall off the tree? Earlier, Grandpa Fred watched us the park. Ooh, so you have to keep in there. All right? Now we go back to the beginning of the sentence. Earlier, Grandpa Fred watched us in the park. This is a sentence and it is declarative. This sentence is about Grandpa Fred. So Grandpa Fred is the subject. This sentence tells us that Grandpa Fred watched. So watched is the predicate. It is the predicate verb because it shows action. There are no linking verbs because predicate verbs do not need linking verbs. Watched whom? Us. Direct object because it receives the action of the verb. Watched when? Earlier. So earlier is an adverb modifying the verb. Watched where? Adverb question. In the park. Prepositional phrase. Adverbial element because it modifies the verb. P-R-E-P. We said it was a prepositional phrase and an adverbial element. In the park is acting like an adverb. Now looky here, ladies and gentlemen. We have a one-word adverb earlier. That's just answering when. One word, single line, single adverb. But now all of a sudden when we have a phrase, we have to link it from the preposition and we have to identify it as a prepositional phrase acting as an adverb. Yay! Wah. Check that yours looks like mine. Let's go to letter C. I see you. I see you. Should we put glasses on there? Ooh, we'll put a nose. Oh, I'm such a terrible artist. There we go. Eyebrows, bushy hair. There we go. Hey, look at that. Okay, make a really big grin. Okay, let's read. Begin. The big boys hid from the little boys after the game. Order of analysis is phrases, clauses, principal elements, and modifiers. Are there any prepositional phrases? Yes, ma'am. From what? Boys. From the little boys. Prepositional phrase. After what? After the game. After the game. Prepositional phrase. Double check. Take out your first words. The big boys hid the little boys. The big boys hid from the little boys after the game. The game. Doesn't work. From. Preposition. It's on your list. From what or from whom? The boys. Object of the preposition. You have to have a preposition at the front and a noun that is your object of the preposition at the end of your phrase. From the little boys. Which boys? Little boys. Adjective. Which boys? The boys. Adjective. This would probably be what kind of boys. I asked the wrong question, but it's still an adjective. You probably asked the right question because you do that. Let's talk about this one. After the game. After. Preposition. After what? Game. Object of the preposition. The. What do you think it is? Adjective. Because it modifies the noun. Now we start all the way over again. The big boys hid from the little boys after the game. This is a sentence and it is declarative. This sentence is about boys. So boys is the subject. This sentence tells us that boys hid. So hid is the predicate. It is the predicate verb because it shows action. What kind of boys? Big boys. Adjective because it modifies the noun. Which boys? the boys. Adjective, because it modifies the noun. Now we have to deal with our phrases again at the end. Hid whom? Or hid where? From the little boys. Sorry, I asked the wrong question. Hid where? From the little boys. Prepositional phrase, an adverbial element because it modifies the verb. So we have ADV because it's acting as an adverb, and it's a prepositional phrase that's doing that. Let's look at this one. Hid when? After the game. Adverbial element because it modifies the verb, and it's a prepositional phrase. Now we have these adjectives modifying the noun. We have our principal elements, our subject, our predicate. We have two phrases in this one. Both of them, this one is modifying the verb, and this one is modifying the verb as an adverb. Yay! That was a tricky one. All right, on our last one, I want you to say everything I say. Say it out loud. Be bold. Let your mom and siblings hear you. Ready, begin. Afterward, the kids strolled together to the ice cream store. Order of analysis is phrases, clauses, principal elements, and modifiers. Are there any prepositional phrases? Yes, ma'am. To the ice cream store, prepositional phrase. To is the preposition. To what? Store, object of the preposition. What kind of store? Ice cream store. Adjective because it modifies the noun. Which ice cream store? The store. Adjective because it modifies the noun. Afterward, the kids strolled together to the ice cream store. This is a sentence and it is declarative. This sentence is about kids. So kids is the subject. This sentence tells us that kids strolled. So strolled is the predicate. It is the predicate verb because it shows action. Strolled how? Together. Adverb because it modifies the verb. Which kids? The kids. Adjective because it modifies the noun. Strolled when? Afterward. Adverb because it modifies the verb. Strolled where? To the ice cream store. Prepositional phrase. It's an adverbial element because it modifies the verb. So we have to label it as an adverbial element, modifying the verb, and as a prepositional phrase. And then, ta-da! Wow, that is a lot of analysis. Right there on your paper, you can see it before your very eyes. On the next two, number 2 and number 3, you are going to refer back to, or turn back to page 64, where you have the words to your jingles. You are going to look at the words to the jingles and you are going to write out in a complete sentence, what is a preposition? A preposition is, and fill in that with a period at the end. Define what a preposition is for me. You can use the answer on page 64. And then the bottom half, which I have cut off of my page here, has 9 lines on it. You're going to use your chant for the prepositions, and you're going to list 9 prepositions that begin with the letter A. They're the first ones in your chant that you're singing on page 64. So do that, fill in both of those, take a picture of it, and send it to me, and I will do the happy dance, celebration dance. Good job. Happy working. Talk to you later.